10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. I'm glad to be with you here on Monday. And yes, Friday we did not have a show, but glad to be back and feeling comfortable here and getting settled into the new office/studio here from Espanola. That's currently that's where I'm working, and but we have everything up and running. Thanks for being with us this morning. Make sure to feel free to comment and like and share the page and the video, the live stream, because that's the way we're able to get other people involved in the conversation. And that's exactly what it is. It's a community conversation that we are able to have courtesy of Facebook and YouTube. And that's where you can catch us live, Facebook.com/Sudbury News and YouTube.com/Sudbury News. You can catch us live there. But this basically is your show. It's your chance to chime in on local issues and events. And we're also live on the radio, CKLU 96.7 FM, Sudbury's only campus and community radio station. Been around since 1984. And basically it's volunteer ran. It runs on people's gratitude for the show by donating. And so feel free to go to the website. You just click on the Donate Now button, and you can support CKLU to keep us on the air. And hopefully we'll have some really great updates on CKLU and keeping us on the airwaves and in the near future. So stay tuned for that. But what you don't have to stay tuned for is our co-host this morning, all the way from Greater Sudbury, joining me here in Hanmer, Nick. Good morning, Nick. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
You know what?
I'm glad to be here.
You are.
I am.
Do you enjoy this?
I love this. Being able to share my opinion and being part of something cool, my hometown. And actually, it's been so cool because I've been learning so much more about Sudbury.
Yeah, really. It's true, right? This kind of keeps us on top of everything, what's going on, and allows us to really get in there. Remember, we were talking about get involved in your community and find ways to do it. You could do it through volunteering in different organizations, but basically this is volunteering and we're getting involved, right? And we're kind of doing a service for the community, really.
Yeah. And I am someone who has an opinion, and I meet so many people who have an opinion, but they're not willing to do anything. And this is something I can do, like you said, like volunteer and get to know more about my city. And if the more I know about my city, the more I can actually be involved and hopefully make it better.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing, right? And so we're getting in there. We're on top of the different issues that are going on. And if you are educated in what's happening in your community, that gives you a chance to actually be informed, to be able to make an educated decision on what we do and who we follow and who we vote for. We have an election coming up, and that's one of the main things we're going to be talking about on the show. We're going to be having a guest coming on at the top of the hour. Did you want to talk about that at all, or?
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk to her. She's going to be our first guest, Natalie Labby, and she is running for Ward 7, so we will be speaking to her soon.
We sent out an email last night, kind of late, and to all of the candidates, mayoral and for council. And so it's basically an open invitation. You can come on the show and let everybody see you, hear you, get a feel for you, share your platform, things that you find that are important, why would someone want to vote for you, basically? Why? That's basically the question we're going to be asking the candidates. Why would someone want to vote for you? And so we have our first comment of the day, and that is New Sudbury's Day at the Park new splash pad, Ward 8. So, okay. Important in Ward 8. So there's issues, right, specific to each ward. And we're going to get into that later with Natalie. And she is our first interview with the election coming up. We're excited for that. We're hoping the technology will work. We didn't have a chance to troubleshoot just because of schedules and things like that. But, she's going to come in at about 7:50 and hopefully everything's working. And then from 8 on, we'll have about 20 minutes to chat with her. But first, let's get right into everything so we have time to get through things and a little bit of weather and headlines, and we'll be back right after this. So if you've had a chance to get out there right now, or you have a window where it's easy to just look outside, it's not hard to tell what's happening. And it's currently 19 degrees. It's light rain shower. Humidity, obviously, 99% because it's wet out there. And today we can expect a few showers ending near noon and then cloudy with a 40% chance of showers. There is a risk of thunderstorm, and the wind will be gusting from the southwest up to around 40 kilometers per hour. The high today will be 23. The humidex will be 31. UV index is moderate. It's 3. Tonight, a few showers ending after midnight, then mainly cloudy with a 40% chance of showers. Again, risk of thunderstorm. And I know we had a bit of some thunder last night. I could hear, and a lot of rain came down pretty hard in Greater Sudbury anyways. And the low will be 18. And then Tuesday, cloudy with a risk of thunderstorm again, 60% chance of showers. And the high will be 22. Long range forecast, we can see Tuesday, again, chance of showers in the 60% range, high of 22, much the same for Wednesday. High of 16, though, it's getting a little cooler. And then, as it warms up, the chances of precipitation through Thursday, and then it's going to be a high of 19, lower precipitation at 30%. But then Friday, you got your mix of sun and cloud. And then again, after that, who can really predict? But anyways, so let's have a little bit of a look at the satellite here. From Environment Canada, that's the way it looks in your skies. And the way it's going to look on the show, we'll find out with our headlines. Back with the Nick right after this. Okay, and as promised, Nick is with us today, and she's super excited to be on the show.
I'm not super excited about the rain, Aaron.
No, and why not?
We need it. If Mother Nature wants to rain, let it rain.
That's true. Well, gardens are appreciative of it, right? And trees and grass and everything green needs to grow. It needs the water, and it needs sun.
And after rain, we always get sunshine.
Do you think we had a good summer this summer?
I think I've had a great summer. The weather in August has been a little cooler than usual, I feel like. August is always a really hot, nice month. And then September has become like the August for the last 5 years. I remember at my baby shower when 4 years ago, 5 years ago, it was it was the 3rd September weekend, and it was beautiful. So I remember every year, after that, it was so nice and sunny. But I don't know, we might get a cooler September because it feels like September right now.
Yeah, you know what? I'm hoping this is September now, and then we'll have August, like you said, in September. We'll have more of a nicer bug-free September where we can kind of enjoy the weather, minus the mosquitoes.
It's true. It is. We're getting global warming, aren't we? So it should be warming up.
Yeah, maybe we won't have a winter. That's probably, if you're going to look at the positives of that, then that would be one for me.
It's been really cold, our winters.
Yeah, and I think I was told that the Farmer's Almanac is predicting a cold winter again this winter. Well, how could you not? I guess there's very few mild winters. We've had a couple, but no, it's usually pretty darn cold where we're at.
Yep.
Garlic Festival. Did you get a chance to go down there yesterday?
I did not.
Have you
Did
ever
you?
been? No. I was
No,
coming back from Toronto.
Oh, yes. You had a nice trip.
I
Yeah,
did.
super nice. I did not go to the Garlic Fest. I went for a side-by-side ride in our beautiful trails in the area,
Yep,
but the Garlic Festival looks like it was a hit.
it was. Sudbury's Garlic Food Fest was a hit, and there's a huge turnout, and the lineups went reaching, beyond the street kind of thing, and the food was selling out. So I think
I think
it's because everyone is chomping at the bit, right, to get out. Did I steal
yes,
your thunder there? Is
people
that what you're going to say?
that's exactly what I was gonna say. People are just ready to get out. It's the end of the summer. They can feel the cool air coming in, and let's get together and do something fun. And it's so nice to see the people getting together in Sudbury and actually participating in our events, because if we don't participate in our events, we're not gonna have events.
It's true, and we are a capital of sorts. Being the center of Northern Ontario and the most populated area up here. We also, I don't know if that has anything to do with reason why we have so many festivals, but I think we have a lot of festivals, and I used to joke about the fact that we have a garlic festival because it's just this little small plant, vegetable. Is it a vegetable even? I don't even know. Garlic, is it
That's a
considered
good
that?
question.
But anyways,
I know that I'm not much of a cook, but if I'm putting any ingredient in my food, it's garlic.
doesn't garlic just make almost anything taste better?
Yeah.
Yeah, garlic. That's what I mean. Like if you have spaghetti and there's no garlic, put garlic in it. And talk about the smell of garlic and butter in your house. Oh my, it's just like so amazing. Garlic and butter.
And keep the vampires away.
You could. My
So,
sister
Goo-
used go ahead. I was
oh,
about to.
Google. Yeah,
Yeah.
Google says it is considered a vegetable. It's a
Oh,
botanically plant that is
yep.
considered a vegetable. It belongs to the onion family alongside
Oh,
leeks and chives.
yeah. Is there a rib fest going on this weekend going up? Did you want to Google that at all?
Yep.
Just Lise was asking you, because I think there is. I think Rib Fest. I remember there was a little bit of a controversy out there. There was someone who was organizing the bands for it, and they wanted the bands to play for free. And there was a huge backlash from the local musicians saying,
Oh, I'm
"Why?"
reading that right now. New organizers has dealt with controversy.
Yeah,
Why would anyone want to play for free? Like
not
people pay to go.
yep. And that was the huge
The
backlash. It said,
organizer,
"Yeah,
yeah.
is there
Um,
anyone
sorry.
out there that wants to play for free?" And it'll be great exposure, and that's what musicians hear a lot, right? You can just play for free. A lot of people will hear you. Maybe they'll buy your music, and it just kind of devalues the worth of the music, the musicians, and what other thing do people do like that for free, right? It's a big expense. You have to buy your instruments. It's all the time you put in, and it is entertainment. Like you should pay for your entertainment. So, anyways, they are going to be paid now. So, is it this
Great.
long weekend? Yeah, it's the Labor Day
Yeah,
weekend.
it
Rib
is
Fest?
a long weekend.
Cool.
And there's tons of events. There's always a Scentsy booth from my family there. So go check out the Scentsy booth.
Right on.
So, Rib Fest 2022 features 5 rib teams, including Boss Hogs, Ribs Royal, Krabbies. So it's the Texas there, and the Silver Bullet. They always have amazing ribs. Have you ever gone?
I have.
Oh my gosh.
The thing is, I love ribs. Anyways, I wouldn't even know. Like, they could be the worst ribs there, and I'd be like, these are the best because I just love ribs so much. And then I'd want to try everyone's. So how could you try that many ribs and walk out of there without rolling? I don't know, but
And doesn't food just get much better when the atmosphere is better and when you're around people that you like?
yeah, no, it is a great atmosphere. There's no doubt about it. D. LaBranche, it looks like, saying Capriole by Rockies had musicians Larry Barrio, Chuck LaBelle, Marc Sade, Céline Tellier, and vendors. Oh, there's more here. Let me see here. Saturday and fireworks.
Oh,
Interesting. So much going on. People just are chomping to get out there and enjoy themselves. Where did
agree.
you say it will be? Ribfest is downtown always on Elgin, as far as I know. I don't think they would have changed where it is, as far as I know. Does it say where you looked at? No?
It's downtown.
Yeah, it's
Same
usually
location.
downtown on Elgin. And they use one of the parking lots, a couple parking lots to put people in and eat and the tables, the bands and all that. So it should be a great time. I mean, and then Valley East Days is coming up as well. September.
I will be at Valley East Days. I'll have my Scentsy booth out there. Valley East Days is probably one of my favorite weekends. It's jam-packed. And we have country night on Friday night, and then it's rock night on Saturday night.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So they have different music for different nights.
Yep.
I think there's a Supertramp cover band there, like a tribute band. And another tribute band, Guns N' Roses tribute band as well. And then Glass Tiger is playing. So out of the known bands, like a lot of times they'll have some of these oldie goldies playing these festivals. They have Glass Tiger, which I should go and talk to them because they were judges for my song way back when I was 15 years old. Just getting into music. I made my first demo. I entered it in for a contest, my song, and they were one of the judges, and I came third across Canada for my song.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
You should play us one of your songs one day.
Maybe not. Maybe I won't.
Let's make a poll, guys. If you're listening,
No.
do you want to hear
No.
Aaron's music?
No, they don't. No, it was when I was 15. I'm now 50. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are going to want to hear it.
I don't know if many people know, but Aaron is a extremely talented musician. You're a great singer and a great guitar player and bass player. Actually, you even played the
thank you.
drums.
I can make a little bit of noise. Now somebody here is saying, VR Direct is saying that Ribfest is at Bell Park this year, they believe. So yeah, just get on Google it. That's why Google is a great resource. But yeah, it has been downtown for years and years, and I wouldn't be surprised if they changed where it is. I mean, Bell Park would be a great location. You have where the parking lot is across from Bell Park. At the amphitheater. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay. You're correct.
Cool. Thank you
They
very
have
much.
moved it to the amphitheater. So thank you for that.
Yep. See, that's the great thing about this this platform, this way of doing things is that everybody
Community network.
Yeah, exactly. We keep each other in tune with what's going on.
And accountable. We all need
Yep.
to be keeping each other accountable and with grace and loving, because we're all
Yep.
just maneuvering through this whole thing together. And sometimes it's hard to find the information.
Listening to CBC on the way in, they had a story on how do you moderate podcasts? Like, how do you stop misinformation on podcasts? And I get a little bit sensitive on these types of topics when it's coming from certain sources, like the one I was listening to. And anyways, so they said, how do you stop people from sharing misinformation on podcasts? And I just thought, why? Okay, it's just people's opinions, right? And and that's all that it is. And so you can't stop somebody's opinion from being misinformation. If I think I look green, but I don't, I'm sure people are smart enough to notice I'm not green, even though I say it, and they'll say, "Oh wow, he thinks he's green." Okay, there you go. That's done. So why would you want to stop just anyone from sharing information? I mean, real information will always go through and rise to the top. But anyways, that's why I like this. So people keep us in check. They fact check us in real time. They're able to, keep everything on the up and up.
Exactly. People didn't just blindly listen and went on Elgin Street.
Exactly.
We all need to use our brain. Don't necessarily just believe what people are saying. Do your own research all the time. But when in history have we ever worried about people's opinion or worried about, is that information correct or not correct? I don't think we've ever really worried like we do now. And I know bad things need to happen because it helps us grow.
Yeah.
So if it's negative information, it opens up something in my brain that is opening us to some great conversation. So it's a need for we have a need for everything. It's balance, it's keeping things in moderation but
Yeah.
I
If you are,
I am a little oversensitive about that as well.
you were asking if there's times in history where people were worried about what people were saying and things like that.
Okay.
And actually there were scary moments in history though. If you go back and you look at different governments that would take all the books and burn them and, and just things like that. So if you look at Nazi Germany, that's when it took place there. You look at Russia, you look at different China, things that went not so good for the people.
Oh.
That's usually what ends up happening when you start to try to and then the guy said, well, what are we going to do next? Go in coffee shops and listen to what people are saying and censor what they're saying at the table with each other. That's what it's eventually going to get to. Right. So, that's the road
History
it's kind
is
of going
repeating
down.
itself.
History always repeats itself as far as I've
there you go.
seen. But here you go. So a bit of a feel good before we get to Natalie coming on, which I do see her in the waiting room, and looking forward to chatting with her in a few minutes. So it looks like I did hear her sound as well. She's looking nice and clear there. So it looks like we're going to have a good interview with hopefully no technical interruptions. And speaking of, getting back and people wanting to, get back to like a normal, Cambridge College Shield is ready to play. We're excited to finally be allowed to compete again with the full return to varsity sports. So most colleges in Ontario will be returning to a full campus experience this September, and that means varsity sports are back as well. Cambridge College Golden Shield are ready to play. So Tim,
I can't even imagine. Yeah. Being a student and not being able to play. And, I was an athlete and not being able to play. I'm sure these students are super excited to be getting back to playing.
Well, as an athlete, again, when I was younger, I had to take a year off or a good 6 months off. And I'm telling you, my progress as an athlete was definitely affected in not a good way. And I had to really work extra hard to get back the momentum and everything. And so I could just imagine these varsity athletes, keeping in shape, trying to keep game ready, and then having a whole year or two off, now coming back. So yeah, good for the students. But the athletic director from Cambridge basically said he's excited, obviously, to be finally allowed to compete again, full return to varsity sports. And also Bill Best, who is the president of Cambridge, said sports plays such an integral role in the campus experience, which it does, not only for the athletes, but for, basically school spirit, getting out there and supporting your teams and just the whole culture of post-secondary school sports, mostly in the States, more in the States than Canada, but still in Canada as well. It plays a huge role. We talked about this too. Remember those things they put up in the streets? Have you witnessed these at all? I think it's hilarious. Or whatever they call them.
I think this article is hilarious that we're complaining about this. But because this person's saying there's already speed bumps on her street, she's saying.
Yeah. Plus they put these.
And now there's these other slow signs. So I don't know. Is there a Karen living on that street that's just like overly protective over that street? Oh.
Well, I don't know. Basically the letter, talking about traffic calming measures unfair to good drivers.
To good drivers.
Yeah. Because I guess if you're already a good driver, to me, I mean, unless you don't know how to navigate or whatever, it doesn't really, I wasn't really affected in my driving habits with them. I just drove through them, just like I would any other time. There's lots of space in between them. However, good as a reminder to slow down. And really, I have children, and those of us with children, you want to be cautious when you're on a residential street anyways, or you should. But again, what are we going to do, right? To me, it's city planning. You don't make it faster to go down a side street than you would a main street. If you had good roads and good city planning and made streets for the flow of traffic, it wouldn't be faster to boot down some side street to get to where you're going when you could have taken a main street. So, and again, Sudbury's, it is what it is, but you need to address these problems with city planning.
The article says, I'm sure the money spent on these so-called calming measures can be better. And this person's asking for extra police or video surveillance. But I think that's more expensive than these little signs sticking on your road.
Yep.
But I agree with you, Aaron. People are taking side streets to get faster to where they want to go. And sometimes those signs that just says how fast you're going, because now you're intentional and you're like, oh, and it's flashing and it says you're going 55 or 60, like slow down.
Yeah.
Those work. But again, people are just complaining. I really like this next article we're going to talk about because that was probably my first entrepreneurial experience on Gravel Drive when I would have a lemonade stand. So
yeah, here you have the Sudbury Regional Police out in Levac, which I think is a good PR move because we have a lot of people talking about they don't feel they have the same services in the outlining areas. Example, having police presence. And so here you have a really great opportunity for a photo op and public relations opportunity with the police officer out in Levac. No, this is good.
Is that what you're saying? It's a photo op?
If I was the police service, I would do this, and they are. So I have a background in public relations. This is what you got to do. You got to get out there and say, no, we are in Levac. Look, see?
Look.
And we even bought
a picture of it.
lemonade from a young entrepreneur. And that's what you got to do. So they're doing it.
Do you stop? I always stop. I would like to make a public announcement to every buddy that when you see a lemonade stand, you see kids selling lemonade or their bracelets or whatever, stop and support them because they're not inside their house playing video games. They're actually doing something different and they're little entrepreneurs and I appreciate them.
Now, just last but not least, we do have some stories here on different people running, but today we're going to leave that time for Natalie as we talk about the upcoming election and part of our focus on interviews one-on-one or two-on-one in this regard with our candidates so that way they can get out the message of their platform better. But we have here Alexandra Mate, M-A-T-T-E, Sudbury, Ontario, places second in the 2022 Toastmasters International World Championship of Public Speaking. Holy moly. Isn't that amazing?
That is so cool. I did Toastmasters for 2 years. It's a nonprofit organization. There's so many clubs around the world. And if you really want to better yourself as a speaker or just as a human being, Toastmasters is the way to go. And I've heard Alexandre actually speak, and he's a great speaker.
Oh, yes. Well,
This is really awesome.
It is. Like to come second, the studies say that people fear public speaking more than they fear death. And that I think people who do public speaking can relate because it's not that easy to do. Toastmasters International World Championship of Public Speaking showcases speaking skills that transform lives. Alexandra represented District 123, Central, East, and Northern Ontario. He joined the first place winner, originally from Zimbabwe, representing Eastern Europe, from Poland to Europe. And the third place was from Malaysia. Interesting. This is like, wow, what a huge achievement that
accomplishment.
Was. Wow.
Yeah, put Sudbury on the map of public speaking worldwide. This is really cool.
And now that's a segue with no pressure at all for public speaking. We have Natalie joining us here this morning. I'm just going to make sure she can get into the feed, make sure her mic is working, which it does. Sounds like. Good morning, Natalie. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm wonderful. How are you guys?
Doing good.
I'm good. Thanks for being on the show.
No, I appreciate the opportunity, and it's it's wonderful to be the very first one being asked to be part of your show. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you're just jumping right into it.
I appreciate how eager I sent Nat a message, and right away she's like, "Yeah, of course, I'll come and chat."
Which was the only one who was that eager from the ones that you did reach out to, and then we had to do a formal email before you could come on, Natalie, just to make it fair for everybody. Email went out last night. I don't know if you received it. Saying,
I did, yeah.
Inviting everyone come on the show. That way, it's not like you're getting special treatment or anything like that. but you can go down in history as the first one for sure. No doubt about that. So with
On
that,
the Sudbury News.
that's right. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, I think is a good place to start, right? And you're running for Ward 7, I believe.
Yes, so Ward 7 is actually comprised of Cape Creole, Falconbridge, Skeed, Garson, Kukagami Lake, and Old Hanmer, and all points in between.
Cool.
So that's me.
It's the largest geographical footprint of a ward in Greater City of Sudbury, so it is quite a challenge. And within those wards, there's, rural, semi-rural, I guess Garson could kind of be urban a little bit because it's so connected to Sudbury. But each one of them has unique differences and challenges and things to celebrate as well. So with my background, I have been a municipal councillor in the past in Northwestern Ontario. I was a municipal councillor up there between 2010 to 2014. So it hasn't been that long ago since I've been in the seat of making policy and decisions for a community. And yes, it was a small community, about 2,200 people. However, the Robert's Rules of Order and Municipal Act are all the same, no matter where we are in Ontario. So I feel that it's given me a strong, solid foundation of experience to move forward as the councillor for Ward 7. I'm originally from small towns, all in Northern Ontario, and I have a pretty distinct bio that's on my Facebook page and on my website that explains more about my background. But I initially started my career off when I was young as an intern with the municipality in Northern Ontario. And I was working in economic development and tourism and recreation, where I was in charge of managing facilities and also all of the special events for our communities. And that's where it kind of spearheaded me into the direction of getting involved in all the different municipalities that I've had to live in over the course of my adult life. And I've just thrown myself into making sure that I've enhanced the quality of life in those municipalities that I've had to live in, and just connect with the people and make it a fun experience, because even as a volunteer, we can make such a huge impact on the quality of life for people.
Yeah, definitely. Now, if you don't mind me asking, what particular municipality were you in? When you represented?
Sure, it was Manitowaj. So
Oh,
we
cool.
were, halfway between Sault Ste. Marie and Thunder Bay, and 57 kilometers off the beaten track. And it's interesting because Manitowaj used to be a community of over 4,000 people, and it was a mining town similar to what Elliott Lake was like. And then there was a crash, and the community really reduced in size. So that had been there for quite a while. And when I was asked to join council and I won, there was 14 people running for seats of 4. And I was asked by a lot of people, because I was already a community leader in that community, to join. So I knew that I could make a strong impact. I was 35 years old when I was first elected to council, and I really didn't fit in the mold of the old boys club, as they call it. And I had a lot of progressive ideas that at the time really weren't embraced by people who had been on council for a long time. They still had that mentality of, this is how we do it. We've done it this way all the time. And I felt that, I, as a younger person and someone who had been, living in the community for about 10 years, I really felt I had a better grasp on how the demographics of our community were changing. And I wanted, instead of to use the words downsize, I wanted to use the words right size, because we really needed to right size our community for the change of demographics and population and so on and so forth with our services. So, sometimes it's hard to get your voice across with people who have been doing the job for a really long time and they see no problem in it. But I was able to do a lot of different changes that I'm proud of, and represent my community in a way that they could be proud of as well.
Do you see that there's a problem in Sudbury of this old boys club here?
I don't really want to call it that. Definitely, currently, there's only 2 women on council. And I feel
2 out of how many?
2 out of 13.
Wow, that's a problem.
Yeah, so I actually released some more information about that. I put that on my Facebook page, and I've been putting kind of op-eds in Sudbury.com and Sudbury Star about those types of things. But Barrie just released a news article the other day that there's hardly any women running there as well, and it's kind of problematic. As a woman, and as the only woman who is running in Ward 7, I know that I have the odds are stacked against me, but at the same time, I feel that that's also an important thing that makes me unique in a way, because when women run and they're involved in politics, it's proven that women listen more, women are more engaged with people, they're quicker to respond to their constituents' questions. A lot of the decision making around the council table is focused around the socioeconomic impacts of a community, and also family issues, vulnerable persons, that kind of thing.
Well, we have a
I like it.
comment here already that says that Natalie can certainly bring about change and positivity to her community. So you already have one vote.
That's great. Yeah, so, and I am known as a really, there's a bit of feedback, I think.
Not on my end.
Not on your end? Okay, perfect.
I'm hearing an echo too. Does anyone have a volume on or something? No? Okay.
No, it's just me. Yeah, so I am known as a very positive person and a positive community leader. So I've been doing this type of work for about 25 years, even outside of being on council. So it's an honor to be asked to run in Ward 7. And typically it takes women 8 times to be asked before they want to step in, just because there are more challenges with women in politics. I'm encouraged by the amount of support that I've had so far.
That's great. And you need that type of support, especially I feel like in our environment. How long have you been in Sudbury?
8 years.
Okay. And currently, what type of issues are you seeing, and what's going to be your focus?
Well, and it's interesting you asked that, because I've been seeing a lot of candidates echoing the same messages. And we know that there are different issues, especially with our downtown of the Sudbury and the homelessness and vulnerability. People are wanting to feel safer in their communities. We've lost the Citizens on Patrol program over the course of COVID, and it kind of just silently disappeared, and people didn't really make a big issue out of it, or really even know that happened. But that's been an ongoing issue as well. When I'm going door to door talking to people, they definitely want safer communities. I know you had a segue right before we started about these bollards and different traffic initiatives that the city's trying to impose on certain streets that have higher speeds. That's definitely been echoed when I'm going door to door. People want to feel, especially in the outlying communities that still very much feel that they were affected by amalgamation in a very negative way, that we have increased police presence in our communities as well. So that's definitely a challenge. We know that spending on big projects is on people's minds. It's unfortunate that this current council has had to focus so much on the KED. And, it's out, it's back in, it's back off the table, back in.
Can I ask you what your opinion is on KED? Like, where do you stand with this situation?
I'm all for building our community. I'm all for developing Sudbury, but I don't want it to cost us $250 million. I feel that there's some other opportunities there that have been missed. And there's been deferred maintenance on so many of our facilities over the past 10 to 15 years, and it's been purposeful. And we have to get back to taking care of what we currently have in all of our communities, not just in the core of Sudbury, so that all of our communities feel that they have an equal stake in the corporation that is the business of the greater city of Sudbury. We can't just amalgamate and make it look good on paper. There's people who have serious issues that are valid. And I feel that a lot of those issues have been swept under the rug under the guise of amalgamation. And we need to really focus our thinking on how we're going to allow everyone in those outside communities to feel like they are equally important for Sudbury.
So would you say that spending over $100 million on an art center downtown was a good idea?
I don't think it's a good idea at this time. I think
Okay.
that we have more important issues that
Yeah.
we need to do. And if we're going to spend $100 million on
And that's
something, it should
sorry.
be equally distributed to every single community in Greater Sudbury and
Yeah, and
not
that's
focused in
$100
one
million
central area.
when they started the quotes. By the time they start building, it's going to probably turn into $200 million because we always go over budget.
For sure. And we do have existing infrastructure and also other business partnerships that exist that have been suggested to the city that have been ignored, that we could still get all of those things proposed at a much reduced price. So I'm looking forward to having that conversation with staff as well, and those business partners, because I think that it's still important to have those things, but not at that price and not at that time, not at this time.
And for you as an individual that's been here for only 8 years, I just believe it's not what you know, it's who you know. And to make a big impact and a difference in our community, you really need to know the right people or be someone that's extremely loud. What can you specifically do that will change? I just feel like politics, we are always constantly talking about all the nice things that we want to do, but we're just always stuck. I feel like they're just always stuck in meetings and nothing ever gets anywhere.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I'm going to be just one loud voice. Anyone that knows me knows that I'm loud. I'm not afraid to speak up. It's one of the things that I lead with my profile is that I've been told that I'm very brave, and I know I've got examples of things that I didn't feel that I was brave. But when people have brought it to my attention, I've thought, yeah, I am brave and I'm not afraid to speak up. And often, especially as a woman, when we do speak up, there's a stigma attached to that. You know, we're a big mouth or we talk too much. But I equally listen.
Yeah.
And
We're going to ignore those voices
exactly,
because
exactly.
we need to speak louder.
Absolutely. So, you know, I'll be one of 13 voices. I know without a doubt that my commitment to my community and my ward, the communities in my ward, would not be ignored. And I don't want anyone to feel like I know all the answers. I've seen some other platforms of candidates where they've got the answers. I don't have the answers. I want to make sure that it's over to our people to give us what their priorities are. And it's interesting because we already have a platform for that in our community action networks, and they're not being utilized to their potential. And every month there's community meetings and there's less and less people participating in these community engagement opportunities. So they already exist. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We just need to find a way to encourage and motivate people to get more involved. And when they show up to CAN meetings, they can voice their concerns, but they can also share success stories of things that have been going on in the community as well, and let the community know through the CAN what their priorities are for their town. So, you know, if someone wants a splash pad or someone feels that there's a new park that needs renovations in, or if there's, you know, in Garston, people have been talking to me about dirt bikes destroying the new park trail that was provided by the city and upgraded. So, you know, every little community has their issues, and we need to make sure that people are actually showing up and not just doing it on social media to complain, but actually showing up to CAN meetings so that we can make a difference and hear from the people. So I don't have all the answers, but I'm hoping that my past experience in rallying people and getting people to be encouraged and encourage them to speak up and get involved will translate into more people showing up at our local CAN meetings.
Well, I think you are very courageous because I don't see myself running, and you're going to be going against a big crowd of men that are just known to just take over Sudbury. And so I'm really excited to see another female running, and it looks like you have the energy and the passion to help you on this journey. So I'm really excited to get to know more about you, and because it looks like you need my vote too, because I'm in your ward.
Oh, well, that's wonderful.
Yep.
Yeah, and it does take a lot of courage for anyone, man or woman, to put their name forward, especially in this day and age with social media. We're under a lot of attack, a lot of public scrutiny. And I feel that also prevents a lot of people who would be wonderful qualified candidates to step forward for any of the wards. And we need to kind of change that. It's gotten worse over the years, and we're seeing it. I just saw something yesterday in Elliott Lake. No, it was actually Blind River, my hometown. They've actually reopened the nomination process because they do not have enough people that have put their name forward to run for council. So, it's getting harder and harder for people to put themselves out there. It's a lot of commitment of time and a lot of stress because of the public scrutiny. And, it can be done in a really respectful way. And I'm hoping that I can encourage that type of rhetoric and dialogue from people. They've been angry and upset about a lot of issues, and I don't think that people really pay attention enough until it really affects them personally. So, there's been some issues in the news lately about maybe shutting down the 3 campgrounds that the city owns. And I know in Cape Breton, in Ella Lake, that's one of them. And I know for certain, just because I've lived in Cape Breton for 8 years, that when we do have that public consultation meeting, it's going to be jam-packed, because the community of Cape Breton has remained a very tight-knit community despite amalgamation. And they're so passionate about their community. And, similar